Idols might appear single and devoted to fans, but the reality is far more complex. Over the years, from first-generation idols to today's rising stars, they've mastered the art of keeping relationships hidden. So how do they meet, stay in touch, and date without raising any suspicion? Dating remains a sensitive topic in the K-pop industry, with idols often facing intense scrutiny. Although the backlash against idols and romantic relationships used to be a lot harsher in the past, not much has improved over time as public reactions still explode whenever a couple is exposed. Companies, however, seem to understand they can't completely forbid young, attractive people from being in relationships. Instead, they permit dating but impose strict secrecy on idols, ensuring relationships stay hidden from the public eye. In fact, that seems to have been a rule in SM entertainment for a while now. Actress Lee Yeon-hee shared that while there wasn't a strict dating ban at her company, the unspoken rule was simple: don't get caught. Jessica, a former Girls' Generation member, also mentioned that being honest with the staff about relationships made things easier. In such cases, the staff even supported idols, helping them keep things discreet. However, hiding relationships or creating complications for the company could backfire. If something went wrong or the relationship became public, it would be harder for the company to step in and assist. So while many assume idols simply don't have time to date, the truth is they're remarkably skilled at keeping their love lives private. This leaves people wondering how they pull it off so successfully despite the intense scrutiny they face. They're trailed by sasaengs, closely watched by managers and staff, and easily recognized by the public. Yet some idols maintain long-term relationships without anyone noticing. First, let's talk about how the way they get in contact with each other. One method of doing this that went viral a few years ago was the Inkigayo sandwiches. In a 2018 episode of SBS's We Will Channel You, former Big Bang member Seungri revealed that when artists promote on Inkigayo, they're not allowed to eat in the waiting rooms, so they usually gather at the cafeteria on the 4th floor of the building. Seungri went on to explain that idols have a discreet method for sharing contact details. While they're all gathered together in this room, they place their phone number inside the sandwich's plastic wrap and hand it over to their crush. Another way of giving out their contact number is through signed albums. As you might know, junior groups often visit their senior idols' dressing rooms to say hello and give them their signed albums. However, this isn't just a friendly gesture. It's sometimes a way for idols to connect with those they like. GA from Loveless shared that once, another idol dropped by and gave one of the members a signed CD, claiming to be a fan. But when she looked closer, she found his phone number written inside the album. Another method for idols to get in contact with each other is through the staff. For example, celebrity couple Wonbin and Lee Na-young were introduced to each other through their mutual stylist, and now they have been married for over a decade. Even Girls' Day Hyeri shared that one way for idols to reach out to their crush is through hair and fashion stylists who have worked with both people. However, now with the rise of social media, and now that idols have their own social media accounts, they can just contact each other through direct messages on Instagram. This makes it safer for them to talk freely without the fear of being spotted by staff, managers, or every other idols. You might be wondering how they're even reaching out to each other, considering most idols aren't allowed to have phones. Well, former Blady member Tina revealed that many idols secretly buy a second phone for dating, keeping it hidden from their managers. Some even use iPads or tablets. She also mentioned that some idols rely on email to communicate for dating, but it's not ideal since responses can be slow. Now that they have come into contact with each other, where do they meet up? Well, according to Super Junior's Heechul, they go to desolate cafes in Cheongdam-dong and Nonhyun-dong. Apparently, the Han River was also once a go-to spot for quiet dates, with hardly anyone around at night. But when fans and the media began hanging out there, hoping to see idols, they had to stop visiting. Some idols have shared that couples sometimes meet during music shows, as there are areas where they can avoid being seen and caught. Idols also hang out at restaurants, which might seem odd since you would think they would want to avoid crowded places. That's why they prefer privately owned spots. Hong Suk-chun, a star restaurateur, once disclosed that his Itaewon restaurants are often visited by well-known faces seeking a little privacy. He said that when idols visit, they're given the top floor for privacy, and sometimes even extra measures are taken based on their fame. Hong Suk-chun also revealed that when it's time for the idols to leave, the staff carefully spaces out their departure times to reduce the chances of them being spotted. In fact, some idols actually choose busy places for dates because the large crowds make it less likely they will be recognized. Rainbow's Jaekyung appeared in a 2018 Radio Star episode where she let the viewers know that she goes on dates to Korean palaces since they're a popular tourist attractions. For an extra layer of privacy, she would wear hanboks since everyone would also be wearing one, and so nobody would pay any close attention to her. Speaking of disguises, that also seems to be a popular method for idols to go unnoticed in public, especially when they're on dates with their significant others. Super Junior's Heechul once shared that when he was a trainee, he was in a relationship with a famous celebrity. While he was relatively unknown at the time, his girlfriend wasn't, so so they needed to come up with a way to hang out in public without being noticed. So Heechul came up with a clever idea: cross-dress. Wearing a women's wig and a dress, he said that he went out on his date and held hands with his girlfriend in public and no one noticed. In Korea, it's common for girls, even just friends, to hold hands, so Heechul took advantage of this cultural custom to keep their relationship a secret. While not technically a K-pop idol, Daigo Nishihata, a member of the Japanese idol group Naniwa Danshi, did the same thing when he was allegedly dating Kaho Adachi, an announcer 2 years his junior. A media source reported that he spent the night with the announcer and was later seen wearing a women's wig, bucket hat, and mask to hide his identity. Blackpink's Rosé seems to have used a similar method. Ever since she left YG Entertainment, Rosé has been very open about her love life and her toxic relationship with her ex-boyfriend, whether that's through interviews or her music. However, her stories about her former relationship have confused people to no end. How come one of the most popular members of the biggest K-pop girl group dated someone for years without ever being noticed or spotted? Well, Rosé was so discreet that no one even realized it was her walking down the street. In an interview with Capital, Rosé said that she used to disguise herself when going on, explaining, "I dressed up as a granny. I got like a wig and a granny hat. I used to study what people wore outside, and I used to buy it online, like on eBay and stuff, and I would like sneak out." However, if the idols can't be bothered to put on disguises or figure out in which private place to meet up, then they settle for having dates in their cars or their own apartments, especially if they live alone. In fact, netizens often joke that an idol's relationship status can be guessed by whether they have a driver's license. While owning a car or having a license doesn't necessarily mean an idol is dating, it's often considered a sign by fans. A license allows them to travel on their own, making it easier to date without manager supervision. Hwang Kwang-hee, a former Jaya member, even confirmed the car equals dating idea. On an episode of SBS's Strong Heart in 2012, he shared his belief that idols get cars purely for dating. He even recalled a story saying that he went on a car date with a girl group member at the Han River where he noticed many foreign cars, which he assumed were other celebrities on secret dates. Kwang-hee turned out to be right, as he spilled that once he got into a minor accident with one of those cars, only to find out that both the driver and passenger were celebrities. It's because of this widespread belief, though, that many idols even avoid mentioning they have a driver's license or car in fear of fans thinking that they're in a relationship. ATEEZ's Hong Jung once told fans that he considered not revealing the fact that he has a driver's license as he was worried they wouldn't like it. While the belief may or may not be true, it's clear that idols often resort to meeting up with their significant others in cars as the safest option. Some years ago, former Finkel member Legion admitted she used to have a ton of secret car dates with her boyfriend. After her manager dropped her off, she would sneak into her boyfriend's car instead of going straight home just to spend time with him. Similarly, Moon Hee-jun from the legendary group H.O.T. used to go on many car dates with his girlfriend. He even customized his car for their convenience, adding a foldable dining table behind the front seats that could be lowered with just a few button presses. He also installed a projector so they could enjoy movies together while in the car. The definition of if he wanted to, he could. To Anyone's Dara too has been very open about her many car dates. On the show Sisters, she shared a story about her former boyfriend, revealing that she was introduced to a younger celebrity by a friend back in 2011. Since sliding into each other's DMs wasn't an option, they had to find another way to arrange a date. So Dara ended up parking her car near a hair salon in Cheongdam-dong near SM's building and had a date with the celebrity there. Sis stars Soyu and soloist Son Dambi also discussed the idea of car dates with the latter, noting that many couples like to date near the Han River, while Soyu recalled witnessing a female celebrity get out of her car, followed closely by a male celebrity. When going out becomes too risky, idols often choose to stay in. For those who live alone, it's easier to invite their partner over and avoid the chance of being caught outside. At home, there's no worry about running into other idols or strangers, and they can show affection freely. This way, they can enjoy their time together without the fear of ending up on Dispatch's front page the next morning, with thousands of netizens expressing their disapproval. So despite some claiming progress, the reality for idols who want to have normal lives and relationships remains as harsh as ever. True acceptance from the public seems like a distant dream, leaving them to navigate secretive relationships in the shadows of fan expectations. Thankfully, over the years, it seems like they have figured out ways to go unnoticed, but just the fact they have to go to these lengths is truly devastating.